Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Monday, the 4th of March. Hope everybody had a decent day trading today. Before I kind of get into the content for today, you can go to TribecaTradeGroup.com and go to services and products if you want to see kind of the live action of what we do on a day-to-day basis, the analysis that we go through on the hop, and how we basically prepare on a day-to-day basis for the market, and prepare and execution. Those are the two things that are important. Prepare, find your setups, execute when you do have the setups, and and then of course, in this market right now, in terms of where we are, I think it's important to be trimming and trailing your taking targets, as well as watching your stop prices, because I think overall, I think the market has done a phenomenal job, over the last couple of weeks. It's been a really nice run, and I think at this point, just very grateful for the market that we've had, and just have to not be super greedy, have to be greedy, I guess, at the right times, right? Making sure if you've got some names that are moving, but just being thorough in what you're doing, so that if those names, if that begins to change, you can make adjustments as you go along. Risk disclaimer in front of you: everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only. So let me go through a little bit of the index charts first, and then I'll talk about more of the themes of the day. But just to kind of look at, it was a little bit of a fade there at the end of the day. And it just felt like some of the areas of the market were a little bit heavy, particularly some of the, bigger cap, the larger weights in the indices, right? We've been hearing so much about Magnificent Seven, or I call them Great Eight, because I don't know why they don't include Netflix, but that's another story, when that's been one of the better performers. But it does feel like those names have been tired, and there's probably some profit taking and moving into some other areas. Now, of course, when that happens, you're going to feel it a little bit more in the indices, because they are such a large weight. But however, right, where we started the month, first of the month, right, was very strong. And, a lot of times that's new money being put to work in the market. And that could be that, we're going to digest a little bit after that. But we're so far, if we look at the 1 hour chart, right, which is, again, where a lot of times I look for clues in the shorter term, we're so far above the value area for the week, right? And if you remember what we did last week too, we digested there for about 3 days, and then went higher. We had no economics today. We had no bond auctions or anything like that, so it was kind of a slower type of day with less information. But we will get things, we will get more information in terms of economics as the week goes on. For example, tomorrow we'll get the ISM services. That's at 10 o'clock. There's other data points here too, but I'm just going to highlight a couple things that I think are going to be interesting. JOLTS jobs openings, right? And then of course we're going to get a jobs report on Friday for the month of February. And then we're also going to hear from Powell a couple times, as well as other Fed speakers. Powell will be testifying in front of Congress, both the House and the Senate. So that's 2 days. That starts on Wednesday, and then we'll go over to Thursday, and you'll hear every question under the sun about what's your favorite color? Will your favorite color make you cut interest? I'm just kidding. But you're going to hear a lot of, in my opinion, dumb questions. But regardless, there may be some interesting things, and that's on the radar for this week. But yeah, here's where we are. S&P is decently above the value area. Also, the Qs, which were a little bit heavier today, as mentioned, it just feels like some of these names are quite tired. Here's what the Qs did And again, there's nothing wrong with this. By the way, the digestion. So I'm not negative or anything like that, but do I think the market could use a little bit of a rest? Sure. I think a lot of names are a bit extended, right? So there's the cues. And again, notice how far we are, from yesterday's, or excuse me, from last week's lows, and the top of values all the way down at 438. IWM had a bit more of a reversal today too, right? This was leading the way this morning, but kind of gave back. And if we look at the performance, now we'll go to my spreadsheet here and look at the actual performance, especially those micro caps. Let's take a look at that. Down 2% today from the open. So small caps were down 60 basis points just to finish barely in the red. But man, look at those micro caps. And, that might have to do with some of the banks, the regional banks, for example, which were a bit weak today. There's a couple other areas like clean energy, had a good week last week, the solar and clean energy, but, again, not so good. The Chinese stocks, again, not faring well. After I think that the Hang Seng got up to the 100-day moving average last week, right? That was what I was watching last week, just to see if these China names could actually turn a little bit. But oops, that's the Nikkei. We don't want that. So let me go back to this. Here's the Hang Seng. And I just want to bring up the chart. Remember, the Hang Seng H shares, that's more or less what you're seeing with FXI, right? It's not the exact same index, but here's where we kind of stalled. So haven't yet, but that's not bad. We haven't gone back below the 50-day moving average. So for now, we're hanging between the 100 and the 200-day moving average. All right, so just to kind of go over some of these movers. And then on the upside, so again, more, this is something that I tweeted out earlier in the day too, was that the breadth was not, was not particularly good. And that kind of just kept me grounded for the day. I didn't really want to do too much today, noticing, what the breadth was doing. And you could see that right here, right? That's, again, was in our midday note. Just grab that. Where was my midday note? Sorry about that. Just bear with me 1 second. View post. Yeah, here we go. All right, so you can see the breadth, and it got a little bit worse as the afternoon went on. So again, not strong breadth today. That gives me a little bit of a signal to say, pump the brakes in terms of what you're doing. Maybe take a trade off or two. And there wasn't really anything wrong with the highs versus new lows today. Again, that's something that I put in the in every midday note, right? Talking about how many at what point there was 160 new highs versus 24 new lows. I don't think that deviated much. Here we go. And again, these are just the S&P. Yeah, it was 177 new 4-week highs and only 28 new lows, right? That's for the SPX, which again has been a different picture than NASDAQ, which again is going to be a lot more of the small caps, more even there. 440 new 4-week highs versus 277 new lows, but still more new highs there versus new lows. But again, a lot of green there. Regardless, all right. So let's go back to this just a second. Right, and I wanted to show you this. Right, so this is my watch list, just to kind of keep an eye. I don't use this that much to trade, right, unless I think that these names have momentum. But you could see Apple down 2.5%, Google down 2.7%. All of these were in the red except for Nvidia today. Tesla was down 7% today. Some people talking about this this Apple chart. Just bring this back up and go back over here. I don't know if this is done to the downside, right? Some people like to sell puts or that type of thing when you have a decline like this. I see 17, call it 173. That could be where we see a little bit of support or a little bit of a bounce. But I don't know if I would hang my hat on going long Apple there. I think that we could be going down to this 163, 164 level, right? Unless they have some other catalyst. So again, I would watch for maybe, again, once we get down to a support level, I don't want to just go out and start buying. I want to see how the market's going to react to that. But that's 173. I don't have a position in Apple. I'm just watching. Some of these things can be very interesting, as we could see, maybe the money coming out of here and going into other places. So what other places, right? You could see some of these green areas on the top here. So it was a little bit, if you look at what outperformed today, of course, the semis again, but they did not close on their highs today. But that has been the one of the most impressive things that I've seen lately is what's been going on in the semis. But yeah, that's a toppy looking candle, right? You have a so I took profits into this where I could. Right, here's my trades, which I tend to try to show in the room, but I took some Nvidia off, right? Even pre-market, and just as a gift, right? And then I took some off at the end of the day, trailing stop, right? So I'm out of my swing trade. This is just a swing trade that I put on last Wednesday, and I'm out of that one, right? I also took I think I took a target in AMD today at right around the highs of the day, right? So again, I'm happy to take these gifts and just put them in, put in my pocket. Um, very nice and very easy to do. And, that was the story with some other names too, COHR, which is a name that we've been talking about. IBM had a nice day today, right? I know it's not the most exciting name in the world. I get it, but look at the setup, and this so not all tech is the same. Really nice move today. This was up 2.6% today. I took two targets into this, right? So 190, I took one at close to 193. I just put that trade on Friday. So really nice move. A couple other things too. I took some targets. I took AOS, right, which is more of a it's involved in building, right? I think they make like they're involved in water, right? So water heaters and that type of thing, but nice break here, right? So that did well. We talked a lot about on Friday, GLD, right? Nice continuation in GLD here. So, you got a breakout here. So this is impressive. And I'm going to look at the weekly chart because this should be like a longer term thing that you're looking at here. Longer term, when I say thing, I mean trend. But yeah, I mean, it's breaking out. So I know this is, I believe I talked about this on Friday. To me, gold has been tricky, but you have to kind of reset your expectations every time that something like this happens. Um, you know, and realize that it's a new attempt, right? And of course, monitor, but look at the volume that I saw on the 1 hour chart, right? You can see this like on the bottom of your screen. Hopefully you could see that. But look at the pickup in volume here, right? It tells me that there's buying going on in gold. So I'm long. I didn't take a target or anything today, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'm a little foolish for doing that. But that trade worked really nice so far. So knock on wood, I should say. I should say that trade because it's just the initiation of a trade. HIMS, right? So here was our watch list, right? So pointed out just this is the great eight, as I call them. The watch list did pretty good today considering the overall market. Toast, now I don't take every one of these trades, I kind of pick and choose. I took HIMS today, and that worked really well. It was up 10%, and I took a bunch of targets. I took a target like very early from when I put the trade on, and then I added the target right back, right? So you can see how I did that. 1377, boom, took a target, like it's 50-cent target, $13 stock, and then I added it right back, right? So this way I was able to kind of at the end of the day take that trade off, or did not take the trade off, but take a nice healthy target there. All right, guys, and a few other charts. I'm going to keep today's video kind of short, right? But I like what was going on in the financials. Some of the financials today, right? Bigger names like BlackRock, right? Nice little like cup, right? Notice how the moving averages kind of caught up there. And I'll be aiming for that 864 VPOC. I did take one target in this today, but this is the story in a few different names today. GS just again not there yet. Every day when I feel like it's been every day for this Goldman Sachs. Right? It starts to go higher in the beginning of the day, and then it just can't hold it. and I guess it's just not ready yet. But again, I'll be watching it again tomorrow because I think this is a really good setup. But there's a seller in this name. BAC was another name that did very well today, up 2.3%. So again, opportunities out there. You just, in my opinion, have to broaden your horizons and pay attention to different rotations. And that's where we kind of come in and where we try to look for opportunities. If things are, we've talked about how those magnificent seven names have been showing some weakness and look tired, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like it's a go to cash, from there. It looks like it's being rotated into some other areas. And even if they're not so popular areas, right? Doesn't matter. Money is money, right? Medical devices also did well today, right? Up 1% from the open. It's another group I've been talking about recently. Names like ISRG, TMO. Now, TMO, by the way, this is last stock I'll talk about, but TMO, I may, I'm watching this very closely because we're at the top of value for the year. So, today's just Monday, and this is going to be a long way before we get a full look at what this weekly bar is going to look at. But I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt after I've already taken 2 targets in the swing trade, right? And then Abbott, well, I said it was the last trade, I lied. Abbott's also done pretty well, and that's Ant. Let's try it again. Abbott. Right. So I like this little consolidation that's going on here. I made some money on this move up higher, and it's putting in a flag here. All right. So again, medical devices have been pretty strong. All right, guys, have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.